So how does this light of being, this light of awareness, this knowing of awareness, this open space that perhaps has been recognized, how does it become embodied? How does it become lived in the everyday life? So it doesn't remain as a transcendent state, something beyond you, just to be accessed in meditation or now and then. It remains as a state somewhere above you or beyond you. When that state is believed to be it in the sense of now I've arrived, now I've attained, this is it. And then there is an attachment to that. There is a craving for that. There is a yearning to stay in that, because in some ways it can be preferable to the ordinary everyday, which is full of strife and movement and challenge and so on. Why not remain in that pristine state of being somewhere beyond the human experience? But it serves no purpose in that, but becomes a spiritual veneer. And possibly, or commonly, another subtle egoic identity. And then our everyday actions, behavior, and our personhood somehow need to match that pristine state. And then you get the I am a spiritual self syndrome, or I am a spiritual teacher syndrome, which may be attractive to some, but doesn't really fully serve, only serves the upholding of that. So how does it become embodied? Well, not so much how, but what does it look like when it becomes embodied? And we have to be careful with this word embodied. Another word I'm not particularly happy with because it's got the word body in it, and it's not just about the body. It's very often misinterpreted as what I feel in my body, and then those feelings have to be spiritual or blissful or so on. It's not really limited to the body. Embodied really means lived, fully lived in the human experience, all aspects of the human experience, which in some way we can boil down to one aspect of the human experience, which is relationship. And I don't mean relationship just in the sense of partnership or marriage or friendship, but the relationship to everything in the human realm, in what we might call duality. We are relating to everything. There is a perceived and convenient and functional subject-object relationship. But how does the collapse of the subject-object identity filter into that necessary functional subject-object navigation? In other words, how does non-duality, how does the non-dual realization filter into the everyday dual necessity. It's not something we can manufacture. It's not something that we can practice. It's what happens naturally, organically, when we neither claim the pristine, open state of nothingness as an identity, or an arrival place, or an attainment. We don't claim it. We don't take ownership of it. When we don't take ownership of it, nor keep trying to get back to it or stay in it, but remain open to it as a deep seeing, then it starts to organically filter in, because already the whole energetic system is a little more open. And in that opening, it can move. The light of being can move as an ongoing reality. What does it look like? It looks like a gentle quieting of the nervous system. In other words, less inner agitation and less defaulting to the agitated state as a habitual position, so that when agitation may arise in response to a situation, internal or external, we are less likely to give our allegiance to that and then react from that place. So the quieting of the nervous system means there's less reactivity. Even if one is triggered, one doesn't knee-jerk. There's not a knee-jerk reaction from that place. If you like, there is spaciousness around the trigger, so it can be held in that space and not necessarily taken hold of, and then the whole self reacts from that place. There's less, so there's an inner quietness that takes place. An inner quietness on all levels. The nervous system and also the chatter of the mind tends to quieten by itself. It recedes a little more into the background. There's less inner posturing. The whole inner posture softens. In other words, the self doesn't need to take a position internally in order to defend itself, protect itself, which results in my position against your position. My rightness against your wrongness. There's no position to take. And if there's no position to take, then there's a deeper capacity for listening, not defending, but listening. That listening takes place from openness. You don't have to defend your position. There's no right or wrong. Whether that's listening to yourself, or listening to others, or even listening to the world. The listening is open, not defended. Therefore, there's no barrier. the whole polarity of defense and attack comes undone. You can most likely see the ramifications of that in relationship. Most relationship or friendship or any relationship is built unconsciously on the need to agree with each other, to have the same position. And then we can be in harmony, then we can be in love, then we can take a position up together. But if our positions are different or seemingly in opposition, then we're enemies. Whether that's expressed or not. And there's a battle that goes on, a push and pull that goes on. If we take up a position, we need approval. We need approval for that position, that it's okay, that it's right, that it's validated. We don't need validation when there's no position to take up, when the inner posture is soft. There's no need for validation. There's no need for approval. In that sense, we can give ourselves fully, wholeheartedly, as love, just as we're invited to give ourselves fully and not withhold from life itself. We're not withholding ourselves. In the realm of all activity, usually we can bring it to the realm of what we do in the world, what we do in our lives, our work, our creativity, and so on. It's lived as listening, and from that listening, action takes place without agenda for the self. Much of what we do has an expectation of an outcome, always to do with the self, in the sense of upholding the posture of the self as good enough, worthy enough, loved enough, approved of enough, recognized enough, belonging enough. I'm not talking about the fundamental, practical issues of shelter and taking care of the well-being. You might think that that's to do with an agenda for the self. No, that's a natural physiological function. All physiological organisms, whether it's another creature, a human being, or anything that's alive, will have an inbuilt system for maintaining well-being, maintaining its survival as a life form. So we protect ourselves from harm, we need shelter, we need sleep, we need nourishment, we need warmth. These are not agendas for the self. I'm talking about the psychological self, the ego identity, the me identity, that has an agenda for needing to belong, needing to connect, needing to feel it's good enough because it's essential, not it's essential, but its core wound is not being enough unless there has been a realization of innate wholeness. So when it comes to what we do, how we act, how we move in the world, it's not the driving force is not agenda, the need for an outcome in order to uphold that sense of self. So it has a free flow in it. It has a natural movement unimpeded by self's agenda. And it doesn't matter what that is, whatever role, whatever expression it has. There's also a not taking our roles so seriously. That doesn't mean being frivolous. When I say not taking our roles so seriously, it means just not identifying with them. Not identifying as someone. A writer, a teacher, a therapist, whatever. Without the tight shell of identification, that role has more movement in it, more space to serve something, to serve God. More can flow through you. There's also a softening of fear. Instead of being driven by fear or impeded by fear. When fear comes undone, or the capacity to just allow fear, then certain things that we can't do, won't do, that are limitations, no longer are limitations. It's not that the personality changes, it's just that we can stand in the fire of being seen or not being seen, whatever it is, being seen by ourselves. So there are many quite radical and yet very human, if you like, transformations, transmutations that take place